People will always have opinions about you. They will measure your worth based on what they can see: your job, your looks, your background, your success. They will categorize you, define you, limit you unless you decide otherwise. You see, the world is full of people who will underestimate you, not because you are incapable, but because your confidence threatens their comfort. They will try to shrink you so they can fit you into their idea of who you should be. But here's the truth: no one has the right to decide your value except you. If you wait for validation, you'll spend your life chasing approval that was never meant to be yours. You'll bend, adjust, and break yourself into shapes that please others. And one day, you'll look in the mirror and realize you no longer recognize yourself. That's what happens when you let others decide your worth. So, what should you do? You reclaim your value, you define it, you declare it, and you defend it. You decide that you're enough, not someday, not after success, not when people start clapping, but right now, in this moment. Because value doesn't come from what others give you, it comes from what you already carry within. You must become your own validation. You must be the first person to clap for yourself, to believe in your dreams, to stand up when the world doubts you. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's awareness. Awareness of who you are, what you bring, and what you refuse to accept anymore. When you know your worth, you stop settling, you stop tolerating half-hearted respect, half promises and half efforts. You stop explaining your choices to people who were never meant to understand your vision. You stop shrinking just so others can feel comfortable. Because when you value yourself, you teach the world how to treat you. Every person who ever made an impact in this world was first misunderstood, doubted, or ignored. But they didn't let that stop them. They used it as fuel. You have to do the same. Let people doubt you, let them question you, let them misjudge you, and then let your results silence them. You don't have to convince anyone that you matter. You just have to show up as the person you already are: bold, capable, and unapologetic. Remember, diamonds don't beg to be recognized, they just shine. So, from today, stop waiting for someone to see your worth. See it yourself, own it, protect it, and never again hand the power of your value to someone who can't even see their own. Stop seeking validation, define your own worth. The world has a strange way of convincing you that you're only as good as the approval you receive. From the moment you take your first steps in life, people start teaching you to perform for praise, to chase claps, to fit into boxes that were never made for you. You learn to measure your worth by the grades you get, the looks you receive, the likes on your posts, and the compliments that never seem to come enough. Slowly, you start believing that your value depends on how others see you, when in truth, it has always depended on how you see yourself. Validation becomes a silent addiction. You crave it even when you know it's hollow, you seek it even when it exhausts you, and you confuse it with love, respect, and belonging. But validation is a temporary high. It fades the moment the attention shifts, the applause stops, or the spotlight moves away. You can spend your entire life chasing approval from people who are too busy chasing their own, and still feel invisible. The danger of needing validation is that it gives others the power to define your identity. It turns your self-worth into a fragile thing that shatters every time someone disapproves of you. You begin to dress, speak, and act in ways that please others, forgetting what truly pleases you. You start second, guessing your decisions, doubting your abilities, and apologizing for your existence. You become a version of yourself that looks acceptable but feels empty. You silence your truth so others can feel comfortable. You minimize your brilliance so no one calls you arrogant. You downplay your dreams so no one labels you unrealistic. That's what happens when you hand over your worth to the world. It will reshape you until you no longer fit into your own skin. But there comes a moment when you must take your worth back. A moment when you realize that validation is not a reward, it's a distraction, that no applause, no approval, no external recognition can replace the peace that comes from knowing who you are. It's not arrogance to stand firm in your value, it's maturity. It's the quiet understanding that you don't need to prove yourself to anyone who doesn't already see your effort, your character, and your strength. You have to stop living for applause and start living for purpose. Because validation fades, but purpose sustains. When you define your own worth, you stop chasing fleeting moments of acceptance and start building unshakable confidence that no one can take away. Defining your worth begins with honesty. You have to be brutally honest with yourself about who you are, what you want, and what you deserve. You must stop comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel. The world will always make noise about who's doing better, who looks better, who earns more, but your journey is not meant to be a competition. It's meant to be an evolution. You are not in a race to impress. You are in a journey to express. The only validation that truly matters is the one that comes from within when you look at yourself in the mirror and know that you are doing your best, that you are growing, learning, and becoming the person you're proud of. That's the kind of validation that no one can take away from you. When you stop seeking validation, something powerful happens. Your confidence stops depending on the reactions of others. Their silence no longer makes you insecure, and their praise no longer defines your pride. You learn to stand firm even when no one notices your effort, to keep believing in yourself even when no one claps. You stop begging to be seen because you finally see yourself. And when that shift happens, your energy changes. People can sense it. The same ones who once overlooked you will start paying attention, not because you need their validation, but because you no longer chase it. You become magnetic, not because you're trying to impress, but because you've learned to value your presence without permission. It takes courage to stop seeking validation. It means you will have to walk away from places where you're tolerated and move towards spaces where you're celebrated. It means saying no to people who drain your energy, even if that means being alone for a while. It means trusting your intuition more than the opinions of others. It means making choices that feel right for you, even if they confuse everyone else. It's uncomfortable, it's lonely at times, but it's liberating. Because once you stop living for approval, you start living for authenticity, and authenticity attracts the right people, the right opportunities, and the right peace. You must redefine what validation means to you. Let it come from the pride you feel after overcoming something you once thought would break you. Let it come from the discipline of keeping promises to yourself. Let it come from the resilience of showing up when life tests you. Let it come from the quiet satisfaction of knowing you didn't give up. You don't need to announce your worth to the world. Your consistency, your work, and your integrity will do it for you. The world notices those who know who they are. They may not say it, but they feel it. Confidence without noise is the loudest statement you can make. When you define your worth, you stop waiting for someone to recognize your potential. You realize that not being appreciated by everyone doesn't mean you're not valuable. It just means you're not meant for everyone. You stop explaining your vision to those who can't see it and start protecting your energy from those who drain it. You learn that not everyone deserves access to your heart, your time, or your dreams. You begin to treat yourself with the same respect you've always expected from others. And slowly, the world learns to do the same. Because when you honor yourself, people have no choice but to rise to that level or fall away. So stop seeking validation, stop waiting for approval, stop letting people's opinions become the mirror through which you see yourself. The people who matter will recognize your worth without you having to prove it, and those who don't were never meant to define it in the first place. Your value doesn't depend on their vision, it depends on your belief. And when that belief becomes unshakable, no amount of doubt, rejection, or silence can take it away from you. Confidence is not arrogance, it's self-awareness. Too many people confuse quiet self-assurance with pride, but confidence isn't about thinking you're better than others. It's about knowing you don't have to compare yourself to anyone at all. Confidence comes from an intimate understanding of who you are, what you've survived, and what you bring to every room you walk into. It's built in silence, through every challenge that tried to break you and failed. It's shaped by every time you chose to keep going when giving up felt easier. Confidence is not loud. It doesn't always need to be seen or heard. It's in the way you stand, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself even when no one is watching. It's in the calm energy that says, I know who I am and I don't need to prove it. When you are confident, you stop seeking permission to exist as yourself. You stop explaining your dreams to people who only understand limitations. You stop apologizing for taking up space, for wanting more, for aiming higher. Confidence allows you to breathe freely in your own truth. It's the light that stays on even when others try to dim it. It's not about perfection. It's about presence, the kind that doesn't need to scream to be noticed. True confidence doesn't compete, it inspires. It's not afraid of others shining too, because it knows someone else's success doesn't make your own any smaller. Arrogance, on the other hand, is fragile. It hides insecurity behind loud words and inflated egos. It constantly needs attention to feel alive. Arrogance shouts to convince others. Confidence whispers because it already knows. Arrogance demands respect. Confidence earns it effortlessly. The difference lies in energy. Arrogance drains the room. Confidence lifts it. When you are self-aware, you know where you stand. You're aware of your strengths, but you're also honest about your flaws. You don't pretend to know everything, but you trust your ability to learn anything. You don't need to belittle others to feel big. You already know your size. Confidence grows from self-awareness. It begins when you stop hiding the parts of yourself you once felt ashamed of. The insecurities, the mistakes, the lessons, they're not weaknesses. They're chapters of your growth. The more you understand them, the more power you take away from the fear of judgment. Confidence doesn't mean you never doubt yourself. It means you don't let that doubt control you. It means you hear the voice of fear but still take the step anyway. It's not built overnight. It's built in every small promise you keep to yourself. Every time you stand tall after being told to sit down. Every time you choose to trust your instincts when everyone else tells you otherwise. When you're self-aware, you become grounded. You no longer react to every opinion because you understand that not everyone's perspective deserves your attention. You stop over-explaining your choices. You stop begging to be understood. You realize that peace is more valuable than proving a point. Confidence gives you that peace, the kind that doesn't need validation to exist. You walk differently, speak differently, and move differently when you know you're enough. People can sense it. You become unshakable because your worth isn't tied to temporary approval. Confidence allows you to make mistakes without losing yourself in them. It lets you fail, learn, and rise again without the weight of shame. It teaches you that setbacks don't define you, your response to them does. Self-awareness is what keeps your confidence humble. It reminds you that growth never ends, that you can be proud but still hungry to learn more. It's the balance between knowing your value and recognizing there's always room to become better. Confidence doesn't blind you to your flaws. It helps you face them with compassion. You can admit when you're wrong without losing dignity, and that's power. Being self-aware means you're connected to your purpose. You understand your why. You know what drives you beyond applause or recognition. That's what separates confident people from those who chase validation. Their motivation comes from within. They don't act to impress, they act to express. They don't need to announce what they're doing. Their results speak for them. Confidence rooted in self-awareness creates quiet influence. It commands respect without demanding it. It's the kind of strength that moves people not by force, but by example. Confidence changes how you show up in life. It changes how you enter a room, how you handle rejection, how you face criticism. You stop viewing other people as competition and start seeing them as inspiration. You start celebrating others' wins because you understand that everyone's path is different. The absence of jealousy is not indifference, it's maturity. Confidence gives you that maturity. It tells you that you don't lose anything by admiring someone else's success. You can learn from them without feeling less about yourself. That's the power of self-awareness. It keeps your ego in check while your ambition stays alive. True confidence doesn't come from the clothes you wear, the people you know, or the titles you hold. Those things can enhance your presence, but they don't define it. Real confidence comes from within, from knowing that even if everything external disappears, your worth remains the same. You could lose the job, the fame, the approval, and still wake up with a sense of value because your identity isn't built on temporary things. It's built on character, resilience, and self-belief. That's why confident people are unbreakable. They may bend under pressure, but they never lose their center. Confidence doesn't mean you'll always feel strong. There will be days you question yourself, moments you stumble, times you feel invisible. But the difference is, you'll keep showing up. You'll still walk with your head high even when the world underestimates you. You'll keep giving your best even when no one notices, because your confidence doesn't rely on applause. It relies on self-respect. It's knowing that you are not defined by outcomes, but by effort. It's trusting that even in uncertainty, you have what it takes to handle what comes next. Self-awareness keeps your confidence pure. It's what keeps you kind when you could be arrogant, patient when you could be defensive, calm when you could be angry. It reminds you that your strength doesn't need to be loud. It's in the grace with which you carry yourself through storms, the poise you maintain in chaos, the gratitude you hold in success. Confidence is not about walking ahead of everyone, it's about walking steadily in your own lane. It's about respecting yourself enough to stay grounded while still reaching high. Confidence is not arrogance, it's the quiet mastery of your own energy. It's the ability to walk into any space and not need to be the loudest voice to make an impact. It's self-awareness that says, I know who I am, I know what I've earned, and I know where I'm going. And that kind of knowing, that calm, grounded, unshakable knowing, is what makes confidence the most powerful form of beauty and strength you can ever possess.